Welcome to this Logan Canyon edition of Cache Rendezvous. I'm Robinson Miles.
And I'm Sam Walker. Now we're here at the Stokes Nature Center, just about a mile up Logan Canyon, and with the sun coming out today, some Logan residents put on their hiking shoes to hit the trails.
Josh Davis and Sarah Murphy join us to share what they learned after studying and trying out some of the trails here in Logan Canyon.
That's right, guys. We spoke with some hikers of varying experience levels and found out some of their favorite hikes to do here in Logan Canyon.
And based on what they said, we picked the most popular beginner, intermediate, and advanced hikes to put together your Logan Canyon trail guide.
Step by step, avid hikers walk in all conditions to experience the trails of Logan Canyon. But what about the not so avid hikers? Sheesh. Whether you consider yourself a beginner or advanced, here are 3 hikes in Logan Canyon and the skill level behind them.
The Bonneville Shoreline Trail. Ranked as a hike for beginners, it's 3.9 miles. With an out and back route type, trail experts say feel free to bring children because it is kid friendly.
It's more on like a gravel road, if you will. It's a very wide trail, but it's still fairly steep. And you still get very beautiful views overlooking the city of Logan.
It's not a hike. It's more of just a walk. I would recommend it for not outdoors people.
I think it's okay. I feel like I'm just looking at the same view you get anywhere you go in Cache Valley. I think it would be a great place for someone to walk their dog or go on the walk with an older person who can't do as many strenuous hikes.
The next hike is the Wind Cave Trail. Ranked at intermediate difficulty level, the trail is 4 miles and has an out and back route. With preparation, experts say it is a kid-friendly hike.
If you're gonna do one hike in Logan Canyon, it's gonna be the Wind Caves. People do it frequently, so there's always a padded down trail. A great trail if you're only in town for a day and want to do one trail.
It's a classic. You have to do it. Everybody's like, oh, you come to Logan, we gotta do the Wind Caves.
I feel like the Wind Caves in particular is just really iconic. It's kind of a staple here, especially for the Utah State students.
You can go and mess around in the caves and see what's in there, and it's a lot of fun.
I mean, you do it once and you get the gist of it. However, I just enjoy being outdoors and being on hikes, so it's a good one to do. It's got enough incline where you feel like you actually get an actual hike in.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's overhyped, but it's pretty at the top. I never can associate myself where the road is.
It's a good one for sure. Pretty much like a natural wonder at the end, but it is a little steep. You've got some switchbacks. You gotta make sure you bring water.
The third and final hike is Crimson Trail. Ranked as an advanced hike, the trail is 4.7 miles and is a loop. Experts do not recommend bringing children.
My favorite hike in Logan is probably Crimson Trail.
The Crimson Trail, definitely.
My favorite hike in Logan has always been the Crimson Trail, just because of the vantage points along the way. It's so pretty. You've had a long day. You just want to get out and, really into nature. It's so close to the mouth of the canyon.
It looks enjoyable once you get to the top, but getting up and down looks miserable.
I've heard that it's pretty strenuous. It's pretty intense. It's like walking uphill the entire time and then walking downhill the whole time.
The trail is hard because it goes up for a really long time. I had to stop a lot on that trail. The incline was super steep that I was huffing and puffing the whole way up there.
It's kind of a loop trail. You can start in the canyon at 2 different points, and then there's a decent incline, and then you kind of plateau and follow a limestone sort of cliff band, and it's really, really scenic and beautiful.
My favorite part about Crimson Trail is when you get to the top and you can finally rest for a minute. Across the street you can see the Wind Caves and you can see tiny little people inside the Wind Caves, and then when you look over around and behind you, it's just this wall, just this sea of evergreen and pine trees, and it's absolutely breathtaking.
No matter what type of hiker you are, trailblazers say that Logan Canyon has the hike for you.
We've kind of have a mix for everyone here. Easier and harder.
There's something for everyone, and there's so many hikes and back roads and trails.
There's definitely trails for all sorts of activities and levels.
Hiking is great. It's a great way to get outdoors and explore the wild.
There's something for everyone in there. It's awesome and it's beautiful.
So I went on Crimson Trail just a few days ago, and I actually wasn't even able to make it to the very top because the trail was still so snowy and muddy. Now, Logan trail coordinators say that the best time of year to take on this hike is around June or July.
Yeah, and that's true about the wind caves and Bonneville shoreline as well. Especially with wind caves, there's a lot of switchbacks, so after some weather it can get really muddy and dangerous, so be sure to check the weather before going on any of those hikes.
Thanks for joining us on your Logan Canyon Trail Guide.
Back to you, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Now, if you don't like hiking, some Aggies have found a quicker way up the mountain. Kaylee Foster joins us to tell us a little about the biking trails in the canyon.
Thanks, Rob. Now, whether you prefer trail riding or road riding, Logan Canyon has options for all bikers. I talked with a couple bikers about why they enjoy riding in the canyon. These bikers feel the need for scenery.
I like just being out in nature.
And the other one.
I've only taken about 85 so far, but it probably can get up to around 155.
They aren't the only ones.
I like going fast. It's just really freeing to be able to get away from town and just be in the mountains.
The trails just have so many trees on them. Obviously, early spring is a little bit harder to find leaves on the trees and stuff. Everything's a little more dead, but kind of now starting into the rest of the summer, everything's blooming, super green. Just dense with brush.
Riding up the canyon is more fun. You get to see better scenery. You don't like smell exhaust fumes, stuff like that.
They prefer the canyon over downtown.
Riding in the city, you just have to watch out for other traffic a lot more. Riding on the highway, you just got to make sure you're not riding in blind spots. The turns are a lot more fun than just riding on the street or riding on the highway. It's so much fun to just get the bike to like turn and glide with you.
I've been mountain biking in Logan Canyon since I was a kid, probably like 12 years old, so it's like 10 years.
As far as me and my personal riding, I like doing this. It's really fun to just hit the curves. And you don't even have to be going that fast. You don't have to be above the speed limit to really enjoy just riding.
Biking Logan Canyon would take about 4 hours, and with the canyon being 37 miles long with an abundance of trails, bikers say they have plenty of room to play.
Up Logan, I love mountain biking up the Jardine Juniper Trail.
Trailfork says mountain bikers have 64 trails to choose from in Logan Canyon.
I go to Stokes Nature Trail a lot. That's one of the easier trails around here that I do. Pretty flat. There's a little bit of variation in incline and decline, but it's just really pretty. Everything's always blooming there.
It's an average day. I would drive up, unload my bike, and mountain bike for probably like an hour or two.
These bikers do have to follow the rules.
You know, there's a lot of different speed variations depending on how sharp the turn gets, and all the turns, you know, they can tighten up or they can be big long turns.
While mountain bikers don't have a speed limit.
Mostly just coasting. Every once in a while, you know, you find like a nice rock that you can jump off of on a decline, but other than that, just kind of cruising around.
I like a lot of slopes. I like going downhill a lot.
This is my bike. I just got it about 3 days ago. It's a Triumph Daytona 675, so it's a 675cc bike. So it's considered a super sport bike. The reason why I really like this bike is the sound that it makes. It's a 3-cylinder engine when most bikes, 600 bikes that are sport bikes, they're 4-cylinder, all the Japanese ones. And this one's just an inline 3-cylinder, so it has like this little whir or whistle to it. And it kind of sounds like a turbo, but you're on a bike and there's no turbo. I really like the sport bikes. I find them actually pretty comfortable to ride, and I'm pretty tall and I fit on it pretty easily.
For these bikers, Logan Canyon is more than just a scenic ride.
I guess I just know it a lot better and it feels a lot more like home to me. That's probably the biggest difference I notice between here and everywhere else.
Those bikers all agree that it's the scenery in Logan Canyon that gets them coming back for more.
Thanks, Kaylee. Now, one thing I love about the outdoors is being able to cook over a campfire.
I totally agree with that, and that is why it's time to introduce the Cache Rendezvous campfire.
First, combine a pound of beef and a package of dry soup mix into a bowl. Form the beef into patties. Next, combine sliced potatoes, 2 cups of sliced onion, 2 cups of sliced carrots, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, some garlic powder, and salt and pepper. Put the beef patty and vegetables on the tinfoil and seal up the tinfoil packets and let them bake for 30 to 40 minutes, or until the carrots and potatoes are tender, and enjoy. And coming up, we'll show you some treats you can cook over a campfire.
It was just an adventure.
We'll tell you what has changed with rock climbing over the years.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
For your perfect bacon hot dog, you'll need hot dogs and at least a couple pieces of bacon for each serving. You'll start by wrapping the bacon around each hot dog. Once you have that wrapped, make sure to secure it with toothpicks. Place the hot dog on a skewer and rotate over the fire until the bacon gets crispy. After about 10 minutes, let it cool for 1 minute, and then you're good to go. Enjoy with any of your favorite sides and toppings.
Ants sometimes struggle to climb rocks like this, and I always struggle to climb mountains like that. Now I'm here with William Boltez, who went up into the mountains to see why rock climbing has become so popular. Will, tell us a little bit more about that.
That's right, Sam. The rock climbing gym industry has grown about 40% more than other gym industries in the United States. I talked to some rock climbers to find out why.
Okay. You just get to kind of climb things and be kind of like a kid, but be safe.
Just overall a good time.
Although rock climbing has gained interest recently because of a few popular documentaries and because it was announced to be the next Olympics, people have been climbing for fun as early as the 1800s.
Climbing really started in Europe. It was a recreational activity in the 1800s, but by 1900 most of the major peaks had been climbed and they started doing something called route climbing.
Recreational rock climbing's taken off like in the past 70 years or so, like got big in Yosemite and places in Europe.
The sport kind of came to, I think, in Utah in probably the late 1950s and early 60s, and it was pretty much an activity by young people.
It wasn't until the late 80s, though, that rock climbing gyms began to pop up.
When I was a kid, they didn't exist. Most of our gear we kind of invented.
But now, Cache Valley alone has 2 indoor climbing gyms and 404 outdoor routes in Logan Canyon. Utah State University offers rock climbing classes and arranges groups to climb outside through campus recreation outdoor programs.
I went to Moab about a year ago with some friends, and they were really helpful, kind of pulling me up the wall. And I knew that I liked it, so this semester I signed up for the rock climbing class at the Arc.
I got into rock climbing because last summer I went rock climbing down in St. George with some of my cousins, and I really liked it, and so I took a class.
But what has helped rock climbing's rise in popularity? Climbers say because of the challenge, social aspect, the feeling that
I triumphed in some way. Like I looked at like a big rock and I was like, I'm gonna climb that, and then I climb it. It feels like a little almost childish in a way of like wanting to just climb stuff and be on top of things.
I really like the friends that I've made rock climbing, so it's like a good way to kind of make sure I'm seeing them regularly, and then I also like the feeling of slowly becoming better at something, feeling safer, more experienced.
I think people like the challenge of it. It's a different way to like move your body and like work out and accomplish things. Like it's a mixture of like a really solid workout, but also leaving feeling very accomplished and proud of yourself.
Both rock climbing gear manufacturers and climbing gyms say they're working harder to support beginning rock climbers to make their experiences safer and more inviting.
We used to pad ourselves with baggy pants and really heavy shirts because we fell a lot, and we'd scratch ourselves up, so we never climbed without shirts, and we never climbed in shorts, which is really different from today.
Now, climbers and instructors, especially through the school, say they take every precaution to make sure it's safe. This doesn't mean it isn't scary for beginners, though.
Oh man, if my belayer isn't paying attention, I'm gonna fall, like I'm gonna break my legs or die or something. But usually that accompanies like the thoughts of like, man, I'm really high up right now.
I figure I'm a little more than 6 feet, hopefully.
The only way I'm gonna get through it is just kind of keep going.
I was afraid to try it for a long time because I didn't know like how much strength it would require, but honestly, I feel like after doing it, like anyone can start, anyone can do it.
They say the relationships they make through rock climbing are the ones that help them get over that fear.
It can be really intimidating because everyone is a lot better than you, it feels like, and so you feel like you don't belong there, but if you go a couple times, you kind of get your feet wet and you kind of understand what you're doing.
Everyone has been super friendly and helpful. Even though I was like a baby beginner.
Everyone that I've met like at the Arc or like on a like USU OP trip up the canyon, like I've really liked. They've been really nice.
Most of us when we were young kids, I think we got inspired by watching movies on, at the movie theater and television. And it was just an adventure.
USU campus recreation and outdoor programs run rock climbing classes and other activities like hiking and biking and rafting trips for the students.
Thanks, Will. And now we've got a sweet treat for you to try in our next campfire cookout.
For this Dutch oven campfire treat, you'll need 2 cans of peaches and syrup, 1 package of yellow cake mix, and butter. Get your coals ready and place the oven on top. Pour your peaches into the Dutch oven and cover it with the dry cake mix. Cut your butter into even pieces and lay them on top of the cake mix in a checkerboard pattern. Place the lid on top and add briquettes onto the lid. After 30 minutes, remove a few coals from the bottom and place them on top of the lid and allow it to cook for 15 more minutes or until it is golden brown. Spoon it out and enjoy.
And coming up,
we have some classic campfire recipes for you to try.
we'll show you what lives here in Blacksmith Fork Canyon, but died out in the Logan River.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon? You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
After cleaning the fish how you like, the ingredients are 1/2 onion chopped up, 2 tablespoons of butter, salt, pepper, water, lemon slices, and aluminum foil to wrap it all up. Start by tearing off some aluminum foil and use some butter to oil up any area where your food might touch. Then place the fish in the center of that buttered surface. Now you can sprinkle on some of those onions and add salt and pepper to your liking. Then add a splash of water and lemon slices to the top. To finish, you wrap the fillets up tightly in the foil and place them on top of the coals of the fire. Turn and shift it frequently for 15 to 20 minutes, and then you're good to eat.
Wow, so I actually really liked that recipe, but I do think, Rob, that I'd add a little bit of spice to it.
You know, that's the nice thing about that recipe though. You can tinker with it however you want, get it just how you like it. It's like a good baseline recipe that's easy to make.
Yeah, but the fish in that does remind me of our next story.
That's true. So one thing you can do here in Logan Canyon is fly fish. And Sam and I talked to anglers this week about fishing here, as well as stream scientists about the species that isn't here anymore. Rushing water, bags of tackle, tying flies, casting over and over again.
It's an art form because it requires more finesse than normal fishing. It's the way you cast, the way you're interacting with the current, and the way you're following the fish.
These fishermen use hooks designed to mimic real flies. Caden makes his from hare's ears, or pheasant's tail.
Those replicate so many different bugs, from caddis larvae to stoneflies, for crying out loud. Like a hare's ear is perfect stonefly imitation.
Presentation-wise, has to be perfect like it naturally would if a fly was right on the surface or underneath the water. So that's where the difficulty of fly fishing comes in.
For them, it's about more than catching fish.
I see it as just a way to connect with nature more. I'm a big nature lover, and so I just love to be out in it.
And they're not alone.
The rivers might be a little bit more crowded, but I think it's an awesome thing.
There are more and more humans fishing on the Logan River, but one species isn't there anymore.
Pteronarcis californica,
commonly known as the salmon fly.
Gets very large and establishes very large populations, so there's lots of food available for trout.
But salmon flies no longer hatch in Logan Canyon.
We don't have a time machine, so we can't go back and check about why the species disappeared from the Logan River. All we know is that it did.
There are different theories why.
Aerial spraying of pesticides, chemical spills are pandemics, but it's hard to imagine those hypotheses being correct though, because other species survived just fine.
The Division of Wildlife Resources says the salmon fly extinction in the Logan River might be connected to salt. Like the kind snowplows spread during the winter storm earlier this month. These salmon flies are growing to full size here in Blacksmith Fork Canyon, where there's less traffic, so there's a lower level of salt in the water.
Because of the year-to-year spreading of salt on the highway going up the Logan River, we could have lost this species.
Oh, this is a good one.
USU researchers test salmon flies' resilience to different levels of salt.
The salmon fly being in only really low salt streams, we would then wonder, is this fly intolerant to salt? Can it not live in streams of high salt, or is that just a coincidence?
It's a good one.
Researchers collect salmon flies from Blacksmith Fork.
If we're losing that species, maybe due to salt, maybe due to increasing temperature or pollution, we may be on our way to losing other individuals.
They're trying to see
how we can prevent the loss of even more species in the same ecosystem.
They're incredibly important as the base of the food web for aquatic systems.
Researchers say losing more species of flies would
really impact trout population levels, and ultimately that ecosystem would probably start to degrade.
Insects, because of their dominance and because of their diversity, play an incredibly important role in supporting and sustaining natural ecosystems.
That's important to these guys, who depend on healthy river ecosystems.
Fly fishers, they catch and release. They care about the population of the river. They're very respectful to the river, and they're wanting to maintain the population so they could do it tomorrow.
It's my favorite pastime, and a lot of people are getting into it, and so I think it would be pretty sad to have that lose its luster.
Researchers say they could repopulate the Logan River with salmon flies, but it would take around 10,000 flies, all gathered by hand.
And after being with those researchers, all I can say with knowing that is good luck to them, and I hope they can get the population numbers back up.
show, we've got a twist on our favorite campfire classic.
This more.
For this sweet campfire treat, you'll need marshmallows, graham crackers, a skewer, and white chocolate Reese's. Skewer your marshmallows and cook until it's golden. Put your white chocolate Reese's on the graham cracker and use them to take the marshmallow off of the skewer.
Thanks for joining us on this Logan Canyon edition of Cache Rendezvous.
You can find all the previous editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with another look at our beautiful Logan Canyon.
In Utah, 1 in 8 women and 1 in 50 men will be raped. Also in Utah, 1 in 3 women will experience sexual violence. Of the completed and attempted rapes against college women, less than 5% will actually be reported. Sexual assault should not be a part of the college experience. Always get consent.
Consent for sexual activity is enthusiastic.
Consent is sober.
Consent is non-coerced.
Consent is verbal.
Consent is mutual.
If you or someone you know has experienced sexual assault, report it at reportingsa.usu.edu.
Aggie Air is an innovative engineering program exclusive to Utah State. It provides opportunities for students to get hands-on and real-world experiences. By building model planes that photograph and scan detailed images of landscapes, Aggie Air can change the way we use the Earth's surface. Watch as Aggie Air takes flight.
A group of engineering students at Utah State has designed and programmed an innovative remote-controlled submarine. USUB is fully student-run. They designed and built the parts from the ground up and are always working to improve the submarine software and capabilities. These students show that computer science is more than just typing on keyboards. Dive right into engineering with USUB.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.